Let's go.
Welcome to the blockchain basement. Banks are continuing to collapse. Public trust in banking and governments is going to zero. And Jerome Powell got pranked by Russian mobsters. Let's get into it.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we.
What's up? Welcome. One day we're going to have DZ on the intro. Don't know when that day is coming.
Wow, I'm here too.
And
not in there.
And I'm joined by the two forgotten children of the blockchain basement. We might be joined.
The orphans.
Yeah, the orphans. I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, they're here.
Is that the thing?
I'm
you
a
put things
bastard.
in?
We're both bastards.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
that's
yet.
fair.
Almost.
Thank
Soon.
you.
I'm close.
Thank you in the attic and the basement for joining us. Who we got? We got Cali, Crypto Dude, TJ's Chicken Salad. No chicken salad here, only sugar cans to keep me rocking and rolling. Uncle Tinfoil, like the name. Phil Nye, the crypto guy. Excellent. I miss Phil Nye, the science guy, very much, and what he used to be as far as a reason of voice. And then we have the Seuss 528, Real Crypto Stevo downstairs in the basement, Rug Gang, Mama Crypto, Cryptonautic. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Chemistry Bro from around the pond. Hopefully you don't blow up any windows or have any, kind of outside of the norm science experiments going on today. Allegedly. But how are you guys feeling? It's Friday. It's our DCA day. Me and DZ were talking on the live stream about DCA, and I've already bought into some graph is what I got into today. I'm trying to build out kind of like a AI focused portfolio, maybe $1,000 in each portfolio, nothing huge.
I mean, we talk about AGIX. What are at least one or two others? I can't name them. Can you?
What, AGIX?
Other.
Pixia is more of a meme style one. They're utilizing Midjourney.
Yeah.
So Pixia, it's a small cap gem. I might actually be in a Spaces at 4 p.m. PIXIA. Very, very low cap. I bought in. I put in a very small amount because it's super, super risky. It's down probably 30-40%. So my few $100, probably down to $100 or $200. So hey, I'm gonna be looking at that. Maybe I'll add some more. Depends what they're doing, but they do a real cool thing with Twitter. You type in Jerome Powell getting slapped by someone wearing an orange suit with a B on the chest, and type it in, and then they'll give you an image, and I think it's like one a day or for free. Then after that, use Pixia.
Once regular people realize what AI is doing for us right now, they're gonna freak out. That's how I feel like. So I'm trying to get in on these projects. Like Singularity DAO is another one that works with Singularity Net. I went into. Still haven't gotten into it, but so far I'm just into the graph, and I plan to get into AGIX and probably the Singularity DAO as well. Render token, because we in media, we're always looking for ways to create imagery, and I just feel like once the kind of retail public realizes the power of this technology, this is going to be a conversation that goes on for years. We're going to go into another bull market. This is my opinion. We're going to go into that bull market, and people in the retail sector are going to just slam into AI projects. If they're being used currently or not, the graph felt like kind of a low-hanging fruit option that I think is going to be pretty immediately available to retail once this narrative really starts to pick up steam. So trying to position myself ahead of that.
What I'm excited for, and I don't know that this is a thing out there, but have you ever seen the AI engineered car?
No.
So it's really cool when you basically say I'm making like a back quarter panel.
Yeah.
What it will do is a lot of that is useless material, and it looks very spider webby, but it will go in there and actually engineer the car. But I'm trying to remember the name of the company. Chat might actually know, where the entire car, everything minus maybe the engine, but the rest of the car is completely AI generated. So it's like, once there are AI projects out there, like this is something I'd be very bullish on, are for like engineering and things like that, where you're just like, I don't know if we'll eventually be able to, like, I'm working on a bunch of different projects, but here, I'll go ahead and throw this out there. One of them I'm working on, it's the dumbest concept, and the reason for it being dumb is because there's no reason to do it. It's something I'm trying to do for Fool Us, is it's a a table that swaps out a deck, and I've engineered it, but there's some issues. But like at some point, would I be able to go into something like that and start presenting like ideas?
Yeah.
And be like, hey, make me a device that does this, that fits in these dimensions. Like,
Absolutely.
that would be super sick.
What's up, Justin?
Oh, we got a Justin.
NFT.
Is that a new
man.
bracelet?
Yeah.
Show that on stream. That's fucking. Did you get that from
18 karat.
Crypto Face? Hold on, I'm zooming in.
75%.
Yeah, hold it up, bro.
AU.
75%.
AU.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Justin was he was wrapped up doing, CEO stuff, being all fancy, glad to have you here.
Being an alpha in the NFT space.
That's right. That's right. He's
Aren't
been
there
doing
like
it.
3 people in the space? So this is
Left. Yeah.
It's still here in the bear market, man. Like, I'm surprised. NFTs and JPEGs, they're still here. There's still projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club. I mean, yeah, it's down, but so are a lot of other crypto projects.
Speaking of NFTs, I actually want to get DZ's opinion on this. Like, I feel like Nintendo actually might be super into it. Like, about the amiibos? They basically make these little statues that have NFC chips in them.
Really?
Okay.
And by you having it, you hold it up to your console and it allows you to unlock certain things in the game. And I was like, that seems
that's fun.
physically very close to NFTs, where I'm
Yeah.
interested how much Nintendo is actually thinking about that. Because it's like, you're kind of the one implementing it the most. Like, the only way you can unlock these things in the game is to physically have this thing.
Yeah.
So it's like if they started doing NFTs, basically putting like a pseudo ledger or something else in the little device, it's like
Me
you're
and
one
DZ were
step
talking
away.
about that yesterday. Like, big infrastructure brands, like not making it a gated situation where you have to have the NFT, but your experience is bettered by having the NFT. You get some kind of gated access content on a system that's already pretty big. I see that's probably going to be the gateway that opens up a lot of kind of basic day-to-day gamers to this market. I think it's coming. It's hard to
On a
imagine.
side note, chemistry bro, imagine AI that reads all your NMR so you don't have to remember the bonding structures. That would be convenient.
Yeah.
So you can do I can't say this word, a spectroscopy or just a nuclear magnetic resonance, and then just have that all pumped out for you.
Okay.
Like, it can literally read it and then show you what the molecule is.
Well,
That'd be sick.
There's a lot of startups working on that. David Friedberg talks about a lot of them, how they're spinning out, molecule chains for pharmaceuticals without having to actually create them, and then, doing virtual environments.
No, I love the idea of that. Like, early on, I think I talked to you about this when somebody was like, name one useful thing that crypto's ever been used for that wasn't all about money. And then I sent them the link for IBM specifically was doing basically genome analysis on chain, that I was like, okay, that's super sick.
yeah.
But yeah,
absolutely.
the ability to be able to create models, because like between like IUPAC, or not IUPAC nomenclature, but like Vesper orbital theory and all these other
Eric
things,
Trump.
it's like you
Eric.
understand how a lot of
No,
molecular
Lava and BJ.
interaction works. So to be able to build kind of like we'll call it a metaverse for fun here.
Yeah.
That basically your setup, it's like, this is how molecules react in this. Then it's like, all right, I want to go from this molecule to this molecule. What is the quickest way to get from point A to point B with the minimal amount of transformations in between? Like, AI, I think, would be perfect for that.
Absolutely, man. That's why I'm watching this market. I mean, you should. I'm watching. We had a good pump on Render, and I sadly did not buy the dip on Render. But Singularity Net's down by 1.7% on the 24-hour. Fetch AI, another one I've been slightly watching. Numerai. God, I've heard about Numerai forever ago. It's one actually my wife brought up to me a long time ago. I think Numerai is involved with AI kind of traditional stock trading analysis, but there's just a slew of these. Here's Singularity DAO, and really the ones, like, a lot of these probably won't even be here by the time the next bull run comes. But if I hit the right ones, if it's got enough marketing ahead of it, if it's got enough exposure to retail, and then we do actually experience that, return of the bull market and things kind of historically rhyme, I'd see a lot of these, really, really exploding. And, these are plays that I'm doing with like maybe 1%, 2% of the overall portfolio, but I'm just trying to be a little bit more aggressive than just my standard, vanilla Bitcoin holdings. Bitcoin's been great to me and it's done great. But this
Speaking of vanilla, like Render, Singularity, Fetch, we all talk about. Anybody know Ensure?
No.
I know we've discussed. So what? That's like the fourth. This is all AI projects, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. These are AI
Never heard
specific
of
projects.
I've heard of it. I don't know what it's about, but I definitely
166 market cap. You know, this is
Circulating
just another,
supply, what, 26 billion? Total supply, 88 bill.
This is definitely a new one. Let's see their Twitter. See if they have 5 followers and if they're liking all their own posts. Let's see.
I mean, that ratio is pretty good.
Not too many, though. Brand new, 15K.
Yeah, but they're not like botting it. I mean, 150, yeah.
Right, and they're posting pretty recently, 12 hours ago. So you can tell they're staying involved. This is just a good way to make sure that they're keeping it.
Yeah, you want tweets other than top 10 gainer tweets, though.
Yeah.
Like actual relevant information.
Yeah. So, you know, keep it with a grain of salt. You know, I still feel very, very solid that Bitcoin is going to be continuing its upward momentum from the banking collapses and from the distrust. And that's really, you know, kind of what I wanted to cover today. First and foremost, we see U.S. regulators we're worried about uninsured deposits before the March crisis, and uninsured deposits mostly within regional banking. Officials from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp told an advisory panel on bank failures in November last year that large portions of the regional banks' deposit balances were uninsured and warned of knock-on effects for other banks.
It seems funny. They consistently warn people about contagion in November and then don't let us know until about February.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that
done that a couple times
That
now.
was the thing that stuck out to me the most on this story, you know, and it's like FDI's chairman Grunberg said that at the meeting, which was held in public, but the details of which have not been previously reported, so only a few people that were actually, you know, there knew. They didn't report on it. That after the financial crisis of 2008, regulators had fixated on making the biggest banks deemed global systemically important banks, GSIBs, safe. So basically shoring up the Citibanks, the JP Morgans, the Chase Bank, all of the kind of the five or six. Yeah, Bank of America. You know what's interesting too? Bank of BNY Mellon it oversees more than any of the banks, and it's not mentioned in the systemically important ones. It's actually number 7. So you have the 6 standard systemically important banks, but then BNY Mellon oversees around $31 trillion.
America's oldest bank, by the way.
Yeah, America's oldest bank, you know, and that one is in the background, and it's actually pretty crypto friendly from what their overscope is. So it's just an interesting conversation. Like the top dog bank, very little talked about it. BNY Mellon is actually pro crypto. And you have, you know, Chase and, you know, Citibank, Bank of America gathering up all of these customers that are now not in trust of their regional banks because the regional banks don't have enough liquidity to backstop their losses in their ESG investments. So
I'd be interested if, with this narrative carrying over, a lot of people discussing that they're a little bit more comfortable potentially with credit unions and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you potentially see credit unions being the ones to be like, where's our leverage if we become crypto friendly? And it's not that we're necessarily absolved from dealing with regulation, but I feel like they have less bureaucratic framework to deal with.
Potentially.
Where it's like, I mean, if a credit union popped up, they're like, we're pro crypto friendly. We're never going to stop you from going from point A to point B. It's like, I'd probably move to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys would.
Yeah, I just don't know if the tech industry will move towards it. You know, I don't know if like the next Facebook would ever want to use something like that. And I think that's the main issue. It's these big tech giants are the ones that are able to move capital like that, and crypto companies are able to move capital like that. A lumber company would not be able to move capital like that.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, the banking collapse is not over with. We see First Republic Bank is
down another 40, almost 50%.
They halted stock trading this morning. Must be nice to be able to stop trading when it's not going your way, right? But First Republic Bank, it looks like, is going to be seized by FDIC over the weekend. So not yet, but basically just the conversations that we have seen over the last week and now today with this new information. First Republic most likely headed for FDI receivership. Sources say shares dropped 20%. I think this is before continued following.
So I brought up a million times before. How much money are they trying to get from FDIC?
It would be 250K per in depositor is what they're looking for.
What the classic thing that there's only $130 billion in FDIC.
Oh yeah.
So if they drop for more than that, they literally clear out FDIC.
Yeah.
One bank.
I mean, it's definitely going to happen. This is the
Silicon would have done it twofold.
This is another regional bank though that they're talking about as at risk. A lot of people.
Wrong button. Sorry.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I use a regional bank from Colorado that I really don't feel comfortable with after watching all of these regionals start to fall. More people.
Is the branch inside of the Denver airport?
No.
Oh, okay. You said you weren't sure about it. I didn't know.
Yeah. How do you
have Dippin' Dots down
Let me
there?
ask you this, Drew. How do you feel about I don't know if you saw the Kevin O'Leary clip where I think he was on Fox a couple, where he's talking about all small regional banks and community banks need to go away and we need to consolidate into 4 behemoths, very similar to Canada. When I heard that, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I mean, that's awful.
Centralization sucks balls.
Yeah. When we see these gigantic corporations that have enough backstop to basically, buy the country over on debt if they so requested it, because that's how much control they have and connection they have to central bank, which is a private entity. That makes me as a citizen very, very uncomfortable with playing this game with these large corporations that honestly, I don't agree with them existing to begin with. I'd rather, there'd be a decentralized distribution of power. I think that we as a people have given up a lot of that, over the last 50, 70 years, just for comfortability reasons. We want goods, we want plastic goods from China. So we'll, open up the doors for China's production while we stifle ours here in the US through EPA regulation. This stuff from First Republic and these other regional banks going down and kind of being swallowed by larger corporations makes me feel sick to my stomach, honestly. I could go into a screaming fit about it, but I'd rather people kind of hear me out, and consider me logical, because I really I still use
I'm not sure the fearful will ever consider you logical. Literally based off of fear.
Yeah, I know. But people are starting to wake up, here is a great graph. This is the cost to insure these banks. And so you'll see right here, this was the previous, this is SVB. And so the cost of insuring them kind of had a moment where it was trying to stop and calm down and go back down after the Treasury's reassurance. But what we see now with First Republic and other regional banks now posturing.
Is this a percentage or a dollar?
Yeah, you talk about the y-axis, right? I have zero idea.
Cool. This is the cost to insure banks.
But what does
CDS.
that mean?
Yeah. It means that
$176.
This
BJ.
means that the banks are much, much more costly to insure.
Line go up bad, but what line go up mean?
Yeah, the line go up mean is that the cost to insure and backstop these small regional banks is parabolic right now. It's going up.
$176 per $100.
Yeah, is that per 100K, per million, per user, per customer?
I think that's actually.
I'm sorry.
Does it even stand for
relevant data? Where's the legend?
Yeah, is that an RSI?
The CDS is just the overall way to understand what the cost to insure banks is. So
I'm not sure if anybody cares about this graph.
Some people do. People are losing trust in them, man.
Look, it was 20, now it's 176.
Let's talk about something that's more colorful. Let's start.
Doge, SEC owns 25%.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. That's not true. The biggest holder is Robinhood. The second biggest holder is Binance. It's well known and established.
Also, Justin,
that'd be really concerning.
Justin, you're looking a little tuckered over there. You get enough sleep?
Tuckered.
How dare you say that word now?
Tuckered out.
You want to get colorful. I was being subtleful. Well.
Yeah, I think Tucker's going to take over news
there we
media.
go. The derailment has begun.
I think Tucker's going to take over media. I really do. People are trusting.
So you think Tucker Chain and
Tucker
Russell
Chain.
Brand Chain are going to become a layer 1 and layer 2 solution together?
That would be great to see. They would have some serious throughput. I love Russell Brand, what he's been doing. He's calling out BlackRock on live television.
Have you ever smoked a Jeffrey?
Oh,
we have. No.
Oh, I guarantee Justin has.
Imagine,
There's probably a little
I've
feces
smoked
in
quite
there
a
too.
few Jeffries.
It's healthy. It's healthy for people
Carpet
to see
fibers, you don't know what's in it sometimes. Dog hair.
I do have a funny story about smoking carpet.
Do you? Go on. Go
Is that a
on.
euphemism?
No, I don't want to.
Well, we want you to.
You know, back when I was smoking weed, you remember like when you drop weed in your car into the carpet, and then you run out of weed one day, and you remember that you dropped weed in your carpet.
Yeah.
Pick through, and you try to find it. Well, there's a few times where I did that,
And you tried to retrain a pig
and
that's
I
designed to
smoked
find
it,
truffles
and
to
it
find weed.
gave me
Yeah.
the most craziest feeling. It wasn't weed, so obviously, be very careful.
Smoking plastic fibers.
Maybe there's Parmesan
What looks
cheese.
like weed is not always weed in your floorboard.
Yeah. Well, you know, Biden screwed up the Parmesan cheese for himself, so it happens. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I've never really.
Oh, wait a minute, Drew. There's something fun to pull up.
What?
Did y'all see the latest photo of Biden's speech?
Yeah, I talked about it on the morning stream.
oh,
on
yeah,
my
you gotta
CT
pull
minute.
that
I brought
up.
it up with the CT minute.
Where it's very
You
clear.
can find it under my likes.
It has
Go to DZ likes.
It's so crazy. It has the picture of the reporter, so he can kind of identify who.
Which is a tough to say last name is broken down.
Broken
like,
down
bruh,
phonetically.
Manian.
Yeah, and then each
Like instead of
word,
phonetic, it's like animals.
each word,
Almost there. Almost
that
there.
each word is
It might have been at the
emphasized.
top. I think you maybe passed it. At the very top, it's a hand. You just see a piece of paper in a hand. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Keep going. You probably passed it. Keep
Yeah.
going. Keep right there.
There it
That's
is.
it.
Since mainstream media won't do their job, I feel like it's up to us in the basement and
This was
other
a very good
channels.
person who is center. It's Weinstein. I think it's Eric, not Brett. If you scroll up, you see who made the tweet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Eric Weinstein, frequent guest of JRE. He interviewed Vitalik, and he's the only time I've seen Eric not seem like one of the smartest people in the room, or at least tied as like the smartest person in the room. Vitalik definitely he was the student. Eric was the student. Vitalik was the master.
Okay.
Really, really good Vitalik interview, maybe the best. But yeah, that is a little odd. You know, you got the person's name, how to say their name,
the
their
exact question
number
that they
one.
asked word
and
for
your word for word
verbatim.
answer.
And this is real. This isn't fake news. It's not like the Steele dossier.
Well, it is
This
fake
is
news.
real.
Isn't
This
like
is
Russia
real
Gate?
fake news. This is
Yeah.
really fake
Well,
news.
I'm not
actually.
sitting here like Rachel Maddow and spinning all these lies. This is a real thing that happens in every one of those press
What?
releases. And
If
no
you
one
get
talks
it, you're
about
going to
it.
be fine.
And you
Oh,
know what's
God.
even crazier is he still doesn't make sense. They give him the answers and he still doesn't make sense.
And a lot of people come to me and they're like, "Aren't you just pissed?" And it's like, dude, I don't wish for our country to go off the rails because we're being led by a geriatric. You know, I feel like I'm being
Well,
strangled.
we're not being led by him.
I feel like I'm being strangled by a colostomy bag at this point. Like,
Hey, don't kink shame, Drew.
you know, it feels a little uncomfortable. And
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people don't.
Yeah. Some people like the gritty smell.
that's extra gritty, you know. And these are spoon-fed answers about a very, very serious situation. We're talking about semiconductor production in Taiwan. We're talking about long-term.
Are you squaring your...
Oh my God. Like, you know, Taiwan semiconductors, we saw, wasn't it Warren Buffett that pulled out his stocks of Taiwan
I believe
Semiconductor?
That's what it was 2 days ago, yesterday or something.
Yeah. So we see Warren Buffett is kind of backing away from his investments into Taiwan Semiconductor company. Kind of interesting to think about. I've been talking about embargoes around Taiwan and the production there within for some time. Now we see Warren Buffett backing away from that company, which is based in Taiwan. Also, Taiwan's trying to, or TMC is trying to build locations here in the U.S. to start producing here. And yeah, the EPA is going to charge you more to produce those chips here. Yes, those goods are going to take a while to upspin. If we actually do lean into manufacturing and production here in the U.S., we're going to have a year or two of lag time. We're going to have to train people. We're going to have to build the locations. Clean rooms are not easy to put together, nor are the workforce that can actually mentally/physically handle them. So semiconductor production, definitely a thing. He with chips is going to be the king of the hill in 10 years, 20 years from now, in my opinion. And this spoon-fed answers about the semiconductor situation, what's happening with what's coming in Taiwan is super unsettling. I mean, this guy is not even thinking for himself. He's just taking spoon-fed answers from puppet masters at this point. So,
I mean, that sounds like any college student.
oh God. Is college even useful anymore?
For... I would
Nope,
say
it's useful for a big debt.
Right.
So I needed college.
You thought
DZ
when you thought you were going to be a doctor.
well,
You
then
need it
life
for a
happened.
doctor and a lawyer and
That's
couple other
it.
things.
That's what I was gonna say. DZ, I feel like at some point in life you planned on being a lawyer. Genuinely.
yeah.
Yeah,
actually.
you're. Oh my God.
I wanted to be the president, and I was 6, 7 years old. I asked how to be the president. I was told, well, if you're a lawyer first, it's usually a good pathway.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do that.
There's still
I was
time.
gonna
And
be
then
a
I wanted
lawyer
to be
at
an FBI agent.
There's still time.
And then I discovered marijuana.
And now it's gone.
Yeah, but no, that's more the classic. There's a lot of people who don't know how to think, but they know how to regurgitate information.
Yeah.
That's a majority of people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm not going to encourage my 1-year-old daughter when she becomes of age to go to college.
Yeah.
I think what we've found out in the last 10 years, I think college has been exposed for what it is, which is big business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no reason why tuitions go up as much as they do every year. And
Yeah, they have the, I heard Tate say this first, double inflation, right? So they have college degrees have a double inflation. They go up in price every single year. It's been very, very steady. It's actually almost been parabolic how they go up. However, the amount of degrees hitting the streets are also increasing. So every year there's more CPAs. Every year there's more lawyers. There's more lawyers being created than there are old ones dying. Sure, maybe some things like truck driver. You could cherry pick 1 or 2 industries, but as a whole, the degrees are becoming more and more useless, and the degrees are becoming more and more expensive. It's a double inflation issue. So yeah, they're like compounding how they're losing value.
not to mention, it's also bringing the country more and more into debt now that we're paying for everybody.
Well, if you don't want to become an FBI agent, maybe you can become an IRS agent. Because,
Yeah, they get guns too.
Yeah, that's kind of news to us. This is so the first story is from 2022. So new IRS hires over the next decade will be tasked with IT support and answering taxpayer questions, according to Treasury officials and tax professionals. Despite these dirty Republican warnings of armed agents coming to collect your taxes. Well, let's keep moving on how this thing moved. And now we have Reuters. IRS won't hire armed auditors. We'll add criminal investigators, new chief says. And then if we look at the reality, let's see here. This is the actual job posting. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, be willing and able to participate in arrests, execution of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments. Carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary. And this is from
but
yesterday.
are you sure though that is the job description for that specific IRS job, or is this like a security guard at the IRS?
That is just a blanket job opening for the IRS. So if you
Because
go
I can't imagine that's like me going to the post office and they're packing in there. I mean, there's really
You're
literally
making a
no
postal
reason.
joke. That's so 90s.
Yeah,
why
the
there would
police
be.
are having trouble hiring. So yeah, they're probably going to hire 17,000 people with guns, but they'll probably hire 70 without.
Yeah. I think government needs to stay little, and I don't think IRS agents in any degree of existence should be armed.
Side note, White Rabbit and other people. Yeah, I'm not sitting on the board, so I'm not able to actually monitor the audio whatsoever.
Might
So
have been
I
when I might have
apologize.
been facing Justin's mic.
No, I mean, I got to reset the gates, and like you're probably getting clipped by the gate and other stuff.
I'll move it down.
Sorry.
I'll move it down. a
Low
little bit.
budget.
I'll move it
No,
down.
you're probably getting cut out because you talk a lot quieter.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I mean, basically, I never imagined a situation where I'd have the potential of having armed IRS agents come into my house. I felt like, when I grew up, that this country had a degree of due process to it. And now, as we're involved in a technology that's actually making lower and middle class people money. If you're involved with it, if you're paying attention for the last 5 years, 4 years in crypto, you've probably done pretty good. And now we see 87,000 IRS agents being hired, and a large portion of those at minimum are going to be armed and able and willing to execute search warrants. Makes me feel a little bit less, what do I say, in love? Free. I'm less in love with America. I'm feeling less free. And
Hey, I see you paid this barber $623 on Venmo.
Totally.
Get on the ground.
Paperwork? Yeah.
Get on the ground, sir.
Totally. And
Yeah.
what am I?
Well, there goes the Magic the Gathering card secondary market.
So let's just imagine this. So someone comes to Drew and they're like, hey, Drew, I'm going to take away your livelihood and all of these assets that you've put together for your family by force.
That's
Am
a
I
good
supposed to
question, Matt
accept
Cross. So, Drew, why
Yeah.
is the IRS bad?
that? Why is the IRS
Isn't
bad?
it good to be able to pay for the president's salary and
Yeah, I think that the IRS
federal
is
highway
bad.
systems?
I think that the IRS is
Fauci's
bad. They spend an insurmountable amount of money on military force. And the military force, I don't feel like we as a nation should have been at war more than any nation this world has ever seen in the last 100 years. That feels a little bit dirty to me. I, believe in freedom and people having the chance for liberty across the world, and I think they deserve that across the world.
Don't watch my pro.
It feels like we're holding them back, man. It really feels like we're holding them back.
I will say this, just a macro thought about U.S. and China. U.S. we're spending trillions destructing, breaking down. And sure, yeah, we'll rebuild a road with some lampposts and stuff, but as a whole, with Ukraine specifically, we're selling weapons of destruction, which are like missiles.
Wait,
and
raise
tanks.
your hand if you put Ukraine as a dependent on your taxes this year.
But so we're spending all this money for weapons of or means of destruction. Meanwhile, China is spending the same amount of money building highways and port systems
the name of the Guns N' Roses
in
album.
Africa. And so there's two broad strategies here. What do you think is going to be the good strategy in a 20, 30, 40-year timeline? It seems clear.
Does anybody remember this? I was actually talking to Rice yesterday, and I have no other information on this, but he was talking about there being somebody who worked for the IRS in the 90s who went through everything and then eventually was like, hey, none of this is constitutional.
Yeah.
And then he basically wrote up a thesis. They fired him. Then he wrote a book. And then a little while later, he's no longer breathing. I don't know if you.
As far as I know, it's not illegal. It's illegal to not file. It's not illegal to not pay. They can, they garnish your wages, but
they'll cut them off. They'll freeze your bank account.
Well,
right. But they don't throw you in jail for that. Is my understanding.
No
so if you can live off the grid, trading your chicken eggs for a leather jacket.
Well, this is more a guy who wrote a book stating that the IRS itself was unconstitutional in the way that it was ran currently.
Yeah,
a lot of things.
I can't remember the name of the book.
Basically, all alphabet agencies could be abolished, and I would sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
I'll just say it that way.
DHS?
Yes, absolutely. And
DHL. How do you get your deliveries, Drew?
Hey, that's how I get my lightsabers.
Listen, collapse now and beat the rush. That's my opinion on that. Yeah, it's a big talking point, and a lot of people reference the Tea Party as the reason for the revolution and stuff. But it actually wasn't the Tea Party in particular that made people colonists over the edge against the British. It was actually the fact that they were being taxed.
Is that when the doctor checks you with his finger?
No, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But the taxation without representation is what set this party on fire. And
I was thinking the Tea Party was different.
No, do we feel like we're at the point where these people are representing us? Is that where we're at? Do we feel like we're being represented by Elizabeth Warren? Do we feel like we're being represented by the Republicans, truly? Or do they listen to our wishes?
We live in MTG's district. Do you feel represented by Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I hope to God not.
You know what? Particularly, yes.
What about her specifically do you take umbrage with, BJ?
Me personally, so that is a great point because a lot of people will be like, oh, why don't you like this person? I can't personally state anything besides the things that... So one of the most important things with me as a politician is being a good orator and actually being able to create an argument, valid or invalid, being able to support it. And I've never seen her do that. But specific stances I can't comment on, which further backs up what you're saying. Why do I even say that I don't like her if I Which that I hate.
No. This tax conversation matters a lot to people in crypto. We saw Biden try to recently move towards a 40% tax. We see the government that we have in the United States is scratching at the door of much, much, much higher capital gains tax. And me as a plebe that's trying to make it into, a larger home with more land and basically more sovereignty for myself, it really doesn't feel good to have the elected leader basically pointing at the fact that he's planning on doubling my capital gains tax, be it short or long-term gains. That's a very ugly idea for me to even potentially swallow. Actually, I don't even think I'm physically capable of doing so. I think that, if it came to a situation where you're looking to take, 40, 60% of my value, things might get very ugly in that type of situation. So,
and this gets dirty quickly. And I wish there was a way to do this and make the system work, but it's there's certain things I obviously care about that I would be willing to pay taxes towards. But like, if there was a way to be like, hey, and this is so manipulatable, to where it's like, oh, I could pay 3% less on my taxes if I specifically went towards education, this thing and this thing. But then obviously that immediately you can manipulate the crap out of that and be like, well, your taxes are less if it all goes towards like, you know, pro pharma, like, you know, lobbying and all that. But it's like, I wish we had more of a say. And I know, granted, us voting for our representatives is supposed to do that, but it's like the system and the allocation of funds is fundamentally flawed. And
What's
I wish
granite voting? You like chisel it in a slab and turn it in?
No, that is marble voting, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wondering. Can Robert Kennedy get elected with his voice?
Oh no,
I don't think he can.
so.
Does
It
it sound hot?
sucks. Oh, he has a terrible voice.
Dude,
it's a really,
It's
really
not,
bad
it's
voice.
not a Sade voice.
I love Robert
I
Kennedy.
love everything about him except his voice, and I think that will keep him from getting any real traction.
I know.
Unfortunately. It sucks.
I know. I've been following Robert Kennedy for years.
Just like if he was 5'6", he probably wouldn't have a shot. You know, nothing against our short kings. Just like people are going to vote against you for that reason.
Sociology.
Well, like Robert Kennedy, we have people slightly standing up for us now. Remember when
I'd go for him too, but
I can't remember what happened, but something happened between the SEC and Coinbase, and I was freaking out in here yelling, you know, trying to just beg. I was pleading to Brian Armstrong to please stand up for yourself. Please push back. I believe it was the staking when the SEC came after Coinbase staking. And over the last day or two, we have seen a little bit of action out of Coinbase firing back against their Wells response.
Yeah.
Brian Armstrong fighting.
Yeah, I felt really good seeing this, man. Like, you know, today we're sharing our Wells response to the SEC. As part of our response, I am Paul Grewal, and I sat down to explain why we're confident about the facts on the law and why the Wells notice is not in the best interest of the United States. Coinbase is going to keep building the most trusted products and services to update the financial system and create more economic freedom in the world. We are committed to building in the U.S. and around the world, and we will defend ourselves and stand up to the rule of law. Because when laws are illegal laws, then resistance is duty. Duty, I say.
It's futile.
It's duty. Even if it is futile, it's still duty. Because you know what? Why go quietly into the night? So here, if you care about clearer crypto regulations, sign up for Crypto 435 to join nearly 40,000 other people across 435 congressional districts to make your voice heard on crypto policy. Might as well go ahead and retweet that. So anyone that's interested in making your voice heard, making a difference and being part of the solution, have at it. You know, we can sit here and complain and kick and scream about all these terrible regulators doing all of these things to us, but if we don't kick up the dust, if we don't make a problem for them, if we don't make them bleed a little bit for this, then who are you to complain about it if it actually does get done and you can't trade crypto in the United States? You need to make your voice heard now.
Well, so if they're trying to implement something like a social credit system, like why can't we do that for politicians? It's like every day, like if I wanted to, I could go hop on a website and here's a weird implementation of NFTs, just so you know it's me, but be like, downvote.
Well, they have like the ranking things, like how are they on gun control, and they rank them and all that. But even those things kind of get like co-opted.
But it's just like
it's all bullshit. So if they have polls, you know, you're talking basically about a poll, but a running poll, and it's all bullshit anyways. Those are
but something that's not timestamped just at the polls.
You're still going to have the issue of
another
who
version
controls the inputs.
Right. It's all bullshit.
Totally
the whole
right.
system is screwed. The whole system is crooked. And
who
screwed.
the hell answers a home phone landline?
Grandma.
Who are
Grandpa.
these people?
Yeah, but also how somebody was saying like the tax stuff I was talking about in this, and it'd be great if it was a DAO, but again, it's like unfortunately when man is behind even the implementation of any of these, it's going to be a corrupt system, and it's like
humans are fallible. That's why the transparency of blockchain is. I mean, at the one of its cores of what my interest is in blockchain is the transparency action of it. You know what I mean? Actually knowing when the Department of Homeland Security is spending $800,000 on a toilet. You know, showing the public how much money is being spent on missiles being sent over to a proxy war they have nothing to do with and never voted to have happen in the first place. Those things would be great if we could.
Whoa, watch the facts that you're spitting and how accurate they are.
You know, if we could push our government into the transparency bucket where they began, because originally they knew next to nothing about us, me and you watching, and we knew nearly everything about the elected leaders that are representing us. Now, the flip to script, we know nothing about them. They know everything about you, even more so probably than you know about yourself at this point. So, you know, there's still time, and people that kind of get stuck in that doomsday mindset, you know, I'm in the prepper community. I hear the doomsday mindset all the time. The truth is always somewhere in the middle. And, you know, you have to have a certain degree of, you know, calm approach to these large situations. And the same thing with, you know, on the kind of conversation with CBDCs, you know, we know they're coming, but it's good to see people, you know, kind of highlighting the dangers of them as these things are being formed. You know, this guy.
Does he remind anybody else of Penguin?
What? Penguin? Not really. The beard kind of ruins it for me.
The penguin, that nose.
I guess I could see that if I take
God,
his
he must
beard
be great
away.
with the ladies.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing something decent here.
So he just came out as super pro crypto, correct?
Yeah, he's buying Bitcoin. He's DCAing into Bitcoin. He admitted that he is DCAing into Bitcoin. Now this, you know, just kind of talking about CBDCs, introducing a CBDC would be profoundly dangerous to society as it would mean the government has visibility into every single transaction of its citizens, according to Texas Senator.
He screwed himself. I lived in Texas during that winter storm, and he went to Mexico, and he'll never exceed a senator in Texas because of that. He'll never be president because of that.
And this is where I
Unfortunate.
want some change. So saying a CDBC where you're saying there would be no transparency. So this is like almost saying something is organic. It's an ambiguous term where I feel like CDBCs need to be defined more.
Yeah.
Because obviously there could be with open ledger, closed ledger, self-allocated, government allocated. It's like this blanket statement, if it's coming, like we do need to start talking about this a lot more and start defining these things.
100%. 100%. You know, like it sucks. Like right now in society, you have to be kind of extreme on one side or the other to get heard. Right?
No, listen to Buddha. It's about the middle way. That's why I hate when somebody's like, you're a Republican, you're Democratic. No, it's a nonpartisan system. It's down the middle. It's like, ugh.
I'll look into the voice calls of him literally conspiring to try to mess with change elections. I have zero problem with an official trying to change election results if it's because they're trying to count more votes.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a blanket negative.
Right.
He tried to change a result that must be bad. Obviously, if they're winning, they're probably not going to do it. I mean, that's just human psychology. But trying to count every vote should be something we work towards. So, I mean, if we didn't count every vote, we should change election results. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great take. You know, it's
ask him about Georgia election results. See what he says.
Also, we
I'm
as
just
citizens,
biting my tongue right now.
Like we as
fuming
citizens have
inside.
no way of seeing the validity of the count, correct?
No, we don't.
Didn't we always know at nighttime? No, I'm sorry.
Listen, we're gonna just trust Dominion with this next one. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love the results. Believe me. Believe me.
I mean, didn't Diebold used to own all the machines, and then they had a patent on the algorithm that did the votings, and then that was under privacy laws where they didn't have to actually release the source code.
What I don't like about this whole fraud talk with the elections is, well, there's like when you bring it up about dead people voting, or
someone brought it up,
or like addresses that don't exist.
But how valid is that? I'm not saying it is or isn't.
Hold on
a minute.
Hold on.
Some people, man, anyway. You when you bring all this stuff up to people on one side of the fence, they want to say things like, well, there's always an amount of fraud. It's always been that way. There's always an amount of fraud. Why are we okay with any fraud? Why are we okay with 1% of fraud, let alone 12% of fraud on average? Why are we okay with that?
Right.
By the way, I think there was much more fraud in the past election.
Yeah, JFK, look up Chicago, JFK mob, just Google that. Yeah, there was much more back in the day.
Like, we know there's issues with our system and we refuse to fix it. Yes, there's a shit ton of fraud that goes on. There's a crap load of dead people that vote every single election, whether it's every 4 years or every 2 years. It doesn't matter. It happens all the time. It's just ridiculous that we think it's okay that only 10% of these votes are fraudulent. That is not okay.
Yeah.
It should be 0% fraudulent or less than 1%.
If
we should
people
really
acknowledge
tighten that up.
That's like a shattering of their existence, though. right? Like that's a shattering of their trust and all these kind of paradigms that they built in, that we have a system that's trustworthy. That
It's not. It's bullshit. The whole.
You know,
it's always been bullshit.
It's
always.
the same kind of mindset though that we look at money, right? Like seeing the banks are backed by 0% basically since March of 2020 when COVID broke. They went to 0% FDIC.
March 26.
We have the concept of
Domingo.
banks too. Like that is something that we as people of this country, we need to get in our head. Banks aren't secure. It's not this place where a safe place where you put your money. Banks sell money. It's a business. They sell you money. That's how they are running. It's a business to sell money. They get their money from the government and they sell it to you with these interest rates, and they leverage your money that you put in there in a safe way. We have this concept, and I was brought up this way too, that banks are safe, and it's this place, this big safe. You put your money in it, they crank it closed, and no one ever goes in there. That's not true at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
Patrick
clip that,
Swayze will go in there with the mask on.
Yes,
he
and
will
steal
take
your
it
money
all.
every time, looking like Richard
That was
Nixon.
such a good movie, dude.
It was a
Oh,
good.
What is
my
that? The
God.
President?
Yeah, I mean,
Point Break.
Manly
Point Break,
Crypto
surfer movie.
said it best. Tell your spouse I'm going to be faithful 88% of the time. See how it goes.
Yeah,
Probably
it
wouldn't
doesn't
out.
work. I tried that. Well, the elections work this way.
Yeah,
It
you
doesn't
know,
work.
I don't honestly. I have no faith or hope in the next election actually representing what's voted for.
Why don't
at
we
this
all
point.
volunteer at our local precincts, though?
I'm going to.
Is this a
Absolutely.
movement? Are we?
Yeah, are we
going
gonna
to
start doing that?
Let's do it. Let's
do
go.
it.
All right.
Let's do
Let's
it. Let's wear
go.
some like little, pin cams.
That's right, man. I mean, get involved. Get your hands dirty. Get in there. Not literally.
Or no,
dirty.
let's do this. Even better. Let's try to commit fraud. Let's see how easy it is. No, I'm serious. Let's see how easy it is. And then after the election, we can come on the blockchain
All
and
right,
show
we want
people
everyone to
what we've
vote
done.
twice.
How many dead votes did you
Go to your
did
old
you do?
address. No, don't do that, folks. We want you to lie. Say you're your dead
Come
grandpa.
on, who
See
doesn't know
what
a dead
happens.
person?
We don't know.
Everybody in here knows one dead person.
Well, if we don't get involved now and start getting into this,
If you don't
mix-
vote as the dead kid from your high school, it's irresponsible.
Yeah,
That's what
you're
I'm
not a
saying.
patriot.
That's right. We better get involved now, though, because soon, if we allow these bureaucrats to get their way, then like DZ said, if you send a $620 payment on Zelle or Venmo or whatever it is, that is going to be taxed. So if you're paying rent to your roommate, if you're sharing a house and you pay rent of $600, then that is going to be taxed. Not to mention,
Oh, I know. My landlord took like $30,000 from me, and it was all under the table. I'm
Unbelievable.
calling you out. No, wait, can I say his name, or does
Yeah.
that get me in trouble?
Well, probably. I mean,
Yeah, I wanted to.
yeah. So, if you don't get involved now, then these bureaucrats, if they have their way, they're going to be taxing you on whatever level they choose to. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a low level. So, noticing these things, getting involved now, though it is painful and though you will get into arguments with some that disagree with you, it's freaking worth it. Okay. Because, why should we sit around and watch these systems of control be built around this while we know, hey, what about freedom? What about the liberties that I was raised and told existed? Why am I sitting here watching you rip them away? And I've been sitting here watching this country be stripped of its freedom and liberty since the Patriot Act. I was young when it happened. I understood what it was when it happened. Even at the young age, I think I was like 13, 14 years old. I watched a lot of what the NSA has done in our data control and in selling our data to the open market, not to mention to
Oh, you can't say that on camera.
I mean, it's just been disgusting. So, yeah. And then maybe I went, to the point of I give no F's anymore once I heard the word non-essential, because non-essential to me as an HR person 5 years ago, that meant that I wouldn't have a job basically in, a few years time. Now we see it's not necessarily COVID that is threatening those basic number punching jobs. It is AI. So things are changing at a really fast pace. Like DC said, the AI is growing at an exponential rate, much faster than we as humans can learn. So
It's like Elon said in that Tucker interview. He said,
Yeah.
Tucker said, when will it happen? 5, 10 years? He thinks within this year, it'll make a significant change to our social landscape. And what was more interesting, the comment he said was, it is getting weird very, very fast.
yes, it is. Oh, I also wanted to show this. This is a very weird meme, but quite amazing. Look at this.
Oh, that is. I was like, why is he dressed like Grand Admiral Thrawn?
So this is the Nick Tater takeover scheme here. We have Hannah is what is this? Is this like a colonel or something in the? I don't really know the hierarchy of Star Wars commanders. But
So 4 and 4. I don't remember what that is. So, like, theoretically, the Nictator should have at least 3 yellow bars to be in the Admiral suits.
Gotcha. Well, I still appreciate. I think it was Shane Hansen that made this meme for us, but boy, did I appreciate that, because sometimes it feels like that. It feels like we are, you know, I mean, he's
following Nick into impending doom.
Nick into a pit of doom and despair, and you know, it's nice to be noticed.
We all feel that way.
Yeah. Internet's rotting away, guys.
It sure is, man. And like,
Russia
in crypto, man, like I want people to realize the potential for a transparent monetary system, which in turn will force your government to be transparent. The government follows money. So you handle the money situation first. If you get control and a reasonable, transparent central bank, then the government thereafter has to behave in a similar manner, because they can't keep printing money and making missiles one after another and sending them over to a war you care nothing about. If it's all on a public ledger, people can see what's happening. They can speak out against it. Some pretty amazing things.
I kind of care about what's happening in Ukraine. They're systematically destroying a lot of buildings that have a lot of cesium and Prussian blue in them. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's
talking about the Nazis.
No, not at all.
You mean the Bored Apes?
It's a conflict I would rather have nothing to do with.
Ryder Rips. I was talking about Ryder Rips.
Oh my God.
Ryder Rips.
Yeah, man. Don't be afraid of the time. Like, I know we see a lot of regulators.
Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, y'all.
I don't know. Like, who would Gary Gensler be if he was a villain?
Gary
He
Gensler
is a villain.
Well, but no, who would play Gary Gensler, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Gary Gensler?
There's going to be a movie made about this. So who's going to be him?
The loser virgin Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor?
Because Lex Luthor gets women, right? Like he has the BDE, if you want to say. Like he knows how to F, probably. Gensler's like the incel version. Incel Lex Luthor.
He's like a mini-me from...
I like it.
Probably something there.
Austin
maybe not.
Powers mini-me.
I want to put it into Midjourney and see what Midjourney thinks of him. He's gonna... He has said some things in his past, though. They're kind of screwing his stance on everything being a security.
Paul Giamatti, isn't that the guy from
I like Paul Giamatti.
No, he's fantastic. Oh my God.
Sideways. That was when he first got real popular.
Yes.
Oh, was it? Yeah, check him out. Well, you know, we're doing what we can here from our standpoint. We're in finance, we're in crypto, and I think that, you know, we are at a really important time where Bitcoin, the creation of Bitcoin, is similar to the creation of the pen.
Steve Buscemi.
That's a good one.
Oh my God.
He does have the eyes.
I watched
Mr. Deeds.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
The Big Lebowski last night, and my God, what a classic.
The rival
classic film.
bowler's character, who's like every bowl is sexual. He's a great character.
Jesus. Wasn't his name Jesus?
Well, that's why I am the Biscuit Jesus and not Biscuit Jesus is that movie, because he's the Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought
it's a reference.
It all comes full
gets.
circle.
It does.
Jesus.
It does. It's like the Ouroboros.
Oh my God. Well, you know, let us know in chat, you know, what you guys would think Gary Gensler would end up being if he's played as a supervillain, because I think that needs to happen. I think we need a supervillain.
Ooh,
Gary Gensler.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Nancy Kerrigan
should play Gary Gensler.
I just don't like giving Gary Gensler that much power. I don't think he's a super villain.
Well, he's going to be losing a lot of power. You know, they rise hard and they fall fast. Supervillains do.
I would say villain, maybe not a super.
Just a villain?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a henchman for the big banks.
There you go.
That's fair enough. Well,
Brianna Banks?
Not Brianna Banks.
Oh, man, that is.
Are we going to raid
throwback.
Someone? Is Joel running the live stream?
I don't know what he's doing. I would have to walk over there and hit the button.
Well, it's
We've
getting
only been
ready
going
for the
for
weekend.
58. Well, I guess we started super late.
Yeah. What are you guys doing this weekend? Are you going to be buying any more crypto? What you got going, Justin? What are you going to do? You going to build that retaining wall?
It's Friday. You know what? I gave up on building the retaining wall.
What?
I'm hiring somebody. It's time.
That's fair.
Back.
Yeah.
Back. Really.
I'm just gonna play Zelda. I got that sweet Tears of the Kingdom edition Switch because I'm a virgin.
That's awkward.
That's it.
That's
For
awkward.
once, don't have weekend plans. Just maybe relax. Been traveling a lot. Got more traveling planned. Oh, I have an aunt coming. I have to get the house ready.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna chop some trees down and have some
That's
lip
a
dinners.
euphemism.
No, it's
No, that
not.
was 15-year-old DZ when he no longer was able to become an FBI agent.
Oh,
True.
I'm
Because
just
I got
gonna
a
hang
little
at the
charge as a
family.
young child. That's why I wasn't like, oh, I'm so obsessed with it, and I'm like, yo, YOLO 420. That's not the case. It was,
Yeah.
I got like an early charge as a teenager, and then I was just like, oh, I guess I can't do anything like that anymore.
Very sad. Very
Right.
sad. Well, I hope you guys out there watch The Big Lebowski this weekend. If you haven't watched it recently, the dude abides. And stay involved. Keep learning about these new technologies.
There was rumors there was going to be a 2. Was that just a rumor?
I
Big
mean,
Lebowski
I haven't
2.
heard of that.
Okay, we
but I
got
would
some
be
Jedi
curious.
games, some rollerblading, 3D printing. That sounds cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got 3D print another cat bowl.
You're going to 3D print a cat pole or a cat bowl?
Bowl.
Okay.
The risers I made.
Yeah. I mean,
There's demand for them
It's
now.
fluffy. It's all my piss jugs.
maybe we'll figure out how to 3D print other things in the future, Jay. Like other cat bowls.
Cylinders.
Yeah.
and-
Cylinders and,
yeah.
things of that
I'm
nature.
receiving what you're saying in my head.
That's right. That's right. And AI can't even understand what we are telepathically communicating right now.
Touching tips with our neurons.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us, gents. It's Friday. Let's go have a great weekend. And on that note, take care.
Bye.